In this video, I'm going to be showing you my developer skill set growth roadmap for 2022 that I mapped out for myself in Lucidchart. So let's get into it. Alright, so here's the map that I built in Lucidchart. Let's start at the bottom and I will walk you through it. So starting here, my development path for 2022. It starts off with JavaScript down here. The reason being is that while I do know JavaScript at a basic level, there are some parts that I am kind of missing that just aren't fully rounded out in my knowledge about it and my skill set there. Things like the for loops tend to always stump me because they're really confusing compared to Python syntax. There's the thing where you have to write new in front of a class for some reason that I don't actually fully know. Like, why don't you just instantiate the class by calling it? There's a lot of things like this that are just kind of confusing to me, and I wanted to have that kind of a stronger understanding of that. And also because most of the areas that I want to develop, which are typically web-based, require JavaScript to have some sort of a fancy UI. That's part of the reason I'm building it, and other than that, there are a lot of other applications, and I know a lot of people are also wanting to learn that and have a way to understand it easily. So, JavaScript will be number one here because it's just not my strong side compared to Python right now. I did just start doing this yesterday, so that's a good step. The next one, of course, is TypeScript, and I'm kind of learning that at the same time. Like, I read some of the basics of TypeScript, and from my understanding, it just makes writing JavaScript easier in the long run. So, yeah, that. And this is so important because I already know Python to a pretty good degree. I also know Django to a pretty good degree, and Django is also partially how I learned Python and vice versa. So I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript while I was learning Django, but JavaScript was the last one. In that time, I was also learning Discord, or Discord bots, I should say. So that's just kind of Pythonic. However, I kept seeing these more fancy UIs that people were building with web frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, etc. So Vue was the one I chose because it's definitely the most beautiful out of the ones that I've seen, arguably besides Svelte, which I will be looking into relatively soon. But I might even just switch to that over Vue, but we'll see. And then, of course, Tailwind I just picked up after I found out that there's a really good reason to learn it. That reason being that it's super easy. So let's go back over here. So JavaScript, TypeScript, and then next I have Django REST Framework and Firebase. So the reason for this is alongside those front-end applications, as soon as you decouple a Django REST framework, or you decouple a website from backend to front-end, having front-end hosted on a front-end server, backend hosted on something like Heroku, at least with Django, things get complicated really quickly. So with the REST framework, or with both of these, it's more so just figuring out how to connect the front end to a database and how to have that data available and all of that stuff, which requires a pretty good understanding of JavaScript. And with Django REST framework, it requires, well, a good understanding of Django REST framework. So I want to find a good way to do some of the things there. I have some basic knowledge, like for example, on my website, I do use Django REST framework here. I use it to build my projects, or to fetch my projects from here that I've made dynamically from my Django database. And if I want to view all of them. So yeah, I have quite a few projects here, all of which I'm just using Axios to go to my Django hosted server and then pulling it back here to display all this data. However, what I don't have and what I don't know how to do yet is how to build a proper authentication system that doesn't cost too much, like when using OAuth or something like that. Or I'm trying to find a free version, like with what is it? JWT. It's like a JavaScript website token or something like that. So that will be one of the areas that I want to develop in because it's hard, and I haven't found like a good clean solution yet. So that's what I'm currently searching for and will be looking to find out. If you know a good resource that can help me with that, please leave it in the comments. That would be awesome. Next, let's see. So Firebase, I've tried Firebase. I get it. It's actually, to me, it's actually a lot easier than working with Django REST Framework, but I'm going to learn Django REST Framework because, one, I know a lot of people want to just learn Django REST Framework, including myself. But when I tried to use Firebase, it did kind of feel like the whole Django part was almost irrelevant, besides the fact that I just happen to know Python really well and it's easy to work with. At the same time, I understand Python can do a lot of things. They might be easier to learn than understanding how to do it in JavaScript. So, there are just two ways of doing the same thing, but with Firebase, you don't need to have the whole Django and setting up a production server and have to know everything about that I already made videos about how to set up a Django project on Heroku and Amazon AWS S3. So that's one of them. Next, I want to get into data science with both Python and JavaScript. One, because there's a lot of students on my code mentoring platform that are wanting to learn that, and that could be pretty lucrative once I figure this out. Two, I'm just missing kind of this statistics knowledge. It's just not in my brain for some reason. I never got that far in math after I had a 9th grade math teacher. So that was, she just wasn't the best teacher. Either way, I also am really curious about AI, and I want to understand it at a deeper level. Mostly to understand its real, like how to actually use it in an application. Like how to, not only how to use it, because like I understand people build things like, there's a library that I forget the name of that hopefully my video editor will put in at this point, that generates like images based on a prompt, which is really cool. The name escapes me. But there's also like, I don't know, GitHub Copilot, which is just bonkers and extremely smart. And I want to have the knowledge to be able to know what can I even build with it, because quite frankly, I don't know. I don't even know how people come up with what's already being built. So maybe it's just limited thinking, maybe it's just my lack of understanding, but I do want to figure this out, and I want to make pretty graphs on websites. So that basically sums that up. And at that point, there's a few other things that I might end up learning. So the only place I see beyond that has to do with Web3. So that's why right here there's the Solidity logo. So this is what I might end up learning eventually, but I'm not quite sure, because after this, I feel like I'll be able to do most of the things that I want. And I might learn something like Solidity, because apparently it's not necessarily that hard, especially if you know some other programming languages at a deep level. Svelte seems to not be very far away from Vue. And if I'm just learning the fundamentals of JavaScript a bit deeper right now, I know it hypothetically shouldn't be that hard to pick up, especially knowing Vue at a pretty deep level, which I do. And I will be making videos on that. Rust actually interests me a lot because of the type of applications you can build with it. So, yeah, but that's all just maybe. And Rust, I am a bit interested in for a lot of reasons, but yeah, either way, it seems like a really good language, and I'll just leave it at that for now. So the end goal for myself is I want to be able to build some sort of crazy applications that involve both a pretty UI, pretty website, data science, Web3 stuff. I want to mix all of these together. One, because I understand that can be lucrative. Two, on a lot of the custom websites that people are building, while someone can build a pretty portfolio site like myself, whenever there's real data and dashboards being analyzed, I feel like the data automation side of coding is the real part of the real value. And just one, saving time, two, allowing you to make better decisions. And also, once I learn all of this, I'll pretty much understand how to outsource it. Web3, I do buy into the concepts as far as like, and I say Web3, I mean like blockchain technologies like NFTs and cryptocurrency. I haven't bought a single NFT or cryptocurrency, mostly because, well, I just haven't yet. I don't understand investing that much besides just where to invest time. And even that, I'm still learning because there's some things that I just don't know how to outsource the builds of. So, yeah. I don't know if it's the direct path or like I'm also building business skills at the same time, but I do feel like applications that have all three of these will be the most useful. Stas, merge those last two parts, and of course skip this one. So yeah. And so right here I wrote beautiful complex projects that make a positive impact on the planet is the kind of the end goal. I also just want to make a bunch of badass projects. That's a simple way of putting it, but badass to me is making a positive impact in people's lives at a high level. So that'll just give me access to the tools to do so. Next. Oh wait, sorry, I skipped one part. Yeah, that was over here. So there's also a sidetrack piece of general things that I want to learn and maybe make videos about. So one of those being software architectural patterns. This is just something that I feel like I should know. It's kind of like, what is it? Like those things they do at interviews, like algorithms and whatnot, like linked lists and blah, blah, blah. It's not quite the same thing. Also, I still don't understand why you would need a linked list versus just say, I don't know, a Python list or JavaScript array or whatever the hell. Doesn't quite make sense as to why you would need it to me, but I don't know, maybe it's useful. About software architectural patterns, there are things that I still want to understand, and there's a lot to software development, and I'm just trying to understand like a bigger picture because I understand how to, let's say, architect a Django website, but there's a lot more than just architecting Django websites, especially with like real software, or not that that's not real. I don't know, there's just more stuff to learn. So the next step, or the next item that I might end up picking up is Discord bots, because my friend might have found a lucrative way for the build outs of these to be really worthwhile. So I might make videos on how to build those as well. Maybe not sharing every detail of what I'm personally building because of the security risks, but I might. I think it could be fun and lucrative, and I love making content and telling you guys secrets. So we'll see. And I won't do anything that'll get me sued. That's for sure. Next is going to be .com secrets. So what I mean by this is actually just Russell Brunson is the guy who created ClickFunnels, and he wrote a lot of books on how to design funnels for building, basically to get people to take an action, whether that's joining an email list or making sales or whatever else. Apparently he really knows his stuff. I haven't read this book, at least since when I was younger and I didn't know shit about software development in general. Learning about funnels again and understanding like how to build websites that sell, whether it's for financial gain or ideas or whatever, that's going to be one of the parts that I will be researching. So with that said, that pretty much covers everything. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was my socials. So as we know, I'm already on YouTube right here. A new thing that I started doing, and this is basically the end of the video, so I have a Discord channel where I put all of my previous students from my currently paid calls, and what I wanted to do, because I wanted to give my community that seems to be growing at a pretty good rate, because I only started YouTube this year and I already somehow have 452 subscribers, and I haven't continued making videos until once the Ukraine war happened. I stopped making videos because I am in Ukraine. And only recently did I feel things were stable enough to kind of get back on my feet. I even made a video about this when I was still in the States, but now I'm back in Ukraine. So, either way, my channel's been growing even without me, like, continuously making videos every day like I was at the start of the year. And I'm extremely grateful for everyone who's subscribed to the channel so far. And I want to keep this growing. So, to give you guys a more direct way of accessing me, and not besides just accessing me on my website where I actually teach people, which is Code Mentor, you can see the link up here if you want to visit me. I wanted to give you another way, which is Discord, because quite frankly, I love Discord. Slack is kind of a piece of shit in comparison, just because it's, why do you need to pay so much? Yeah, I like Discord a lot, especially compared to Slack, and it's way more fun. You have GIFs, built-in emojis, all of the great things. So, I will leave a link to my Discord in the description of this video at the top. So please join the Discord if you're interested and want to have access to me. I will be replying there to requests, questions, memes. I love memes. Don't spam. Don't be a creep. There's probably more rules, but so far that's all I ask. Read the rules on the page. And then beyond that, you can follow me on TikTok and Twitter. Twitter I'm using just to, mostly because I see a lot of other creators there and I want to collaborate with them. So I will be building my community here, and I'm also kind of on TikTok. Like, I don't love short form content yet, but that seems to be how to grow. It's definitely not Instagram anymore because, quite frankly, using the Instagram app is kind of a nightmare. So, on both of these, and actually Instagram too if you want to follow me, my name is the same, at Zach Ploche, just like so. So that's it for this video. If you like the content, subscribe. Be looking forward to the upcoming videos that I will end up making, which will be around all of these topics and programming languages that you've seen on that screen. And until next time, bye for now.